Good morning. I want to give thanks to God and to the staff of VOA. My name is Todd Hubbard. It's hard for me to stand up here before you guys today and tell you what brought me to Volunteers of America. I want to say it all started with my family. I grew up in a pretty tight-knit family. You know, they loved getting together and having parties. It was a fad thing, something we all did for fun. They didn't know, but now I know that it was a problem. I was introduced to drinking on my dad's side of the family and drugs on my mom's side. My parents divorced when I was 13. It was hard for me. I felt like I was on my own. So my grandmother, she asked me to come and stay with her. I was lucky to have grandparents. Other kids in that situation, they ain't so lucky. They end up in a bad situation, being bounced around in foster care, living with people who aren't family. I tell everyone, if you're lucky enough to have a grandparent, I don't care what you do, get to know them. My grandparents were my heart. I moved in with them when I was 16. Out of high school, I got a job working on the Navy base, making $12 an hour, washing cars. It was a full-time career job at the time. And I could buy my own stuff, be my own man. I could also afford to buy drugs, a habit I had picked up at an early age, despite my grandparents' care. I think by going to work every day, I could justify what I was doing and that I didn't have a problem because I was paying my bills, I was doing things with my family. I thought I knew it all, that I was a man because I could take care of myself. My grandparents was the only stable people in my life at that time. Sometimes after work, I would go and buy my grandmother candy, and her favorite was the chocolate turtles. One night we stayed up late talking. She told me, no matter what you do, you dust yourself off and always get back up. Excuse me. That night, that talk was much longer than most. It was different. I had no idea that would be the last time I would talk to her. Big piece of me was lost. She was my rock. Not long after I met my wife, I was still doing drugs, but now I was selling drugs. I would still get up every morning and go to work. I had a daughter, and then my son was born. The drinking and drug lifestyle was catching up on me, but I always held a job and never looked like a drug addict, so I let myself believe that I didn't have a problem. Looking back, that was probably the biggest mistake I ever made. The biggest thing is that I was a coward. I wasn't honest with myself. I was afraid to ask for help. Everybody needs some kind of help. Finally, I lost my job, and after 17 years of marriage and 2 beautiful kids, I just let it go. I walked away and didn't turn back. My life was all about hustling and doing drugs. I was a very angry person with a hot temper that got me in trouble many a times. I was in and out of jail from the age of 21 to 48. I'll be 51 in July. Sometimes we don't know how to ask for help or we don't know where to turn and get help, the help that we need. Maybe if I had been involved with Volunteers of America sooner, I could have got myself together before I lost everything. Or maybe I wouldn't have went to prison. Maybe I could have been there for my son. The last time I was in prison, it changed for me. Everything changed. I got the most devastating news a parent can get. My son had been shot. My normal reaction would have been to be on a violent rage, but this time I couldn't even get mad. I'm not sure how to explain it, but when I got the news, it was like someone had their arms around me, holding me, telling me to be calm, everything was going to be all right. And I believe it was the Lord telling me everything was going to be all right. I just couldn't get mad. That's when I made up my mind that when I get up out of here, I was good, I'm cool. That night I prayed for God to forgive me, and I forgave myself for all the wrong that I did and how I felt upon myself. When I got out, I didn't have no place to go or to stay, no money, but I was required to start taking anger management classes because of a probation. I'm on probation and parole. The classes cost me $50 a class, and I couldn't afford that. I needed a job first. To me, it seemed like a setup. Then my parole officer told me about the VOA. He told me they'd give me housing and the classes that I needed to take, and I took the offer. It was hard at first, but I stayed. I went to DMV to renew my trucking license, but it had been so long since I had driven, I had to start over from scratch. Again, I wanted to do everything on my own, but I didn't have the money for the test nor the license. Volunteers of America helped me. I got a job with Labor Ready. I worked for 9 months there, and they put away the money for me. Every week, every time I got paid, they put money away for me. I had to trust them. When the time came, I had enough money to take my driving classes, rent a truck, and get my license. That was the next step of getting my life back together. Today, I make $23 an hour, and I work 10 to 12 hours a day. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but I wish this had happened maybe 23 years ago for me to open my eyes, because life is good. My parents, my sisters, my kids, they need me. There's nothing like your family. You know, we all go through our struggles. We bump our heads. Sometimes we have to bump our heads 5 or 6 times, but eventually you get tired. Today I'm happy. I know who I am, what I want, and where I'm going. I also know what I don't want. That's a choice that I make. Life is about choices. It's about knowing who you are. I got my family back, my children, my friends who really care about me, whose friendship is real, not based on drinking and partying. I may have made some wrong decisions, but I kept my faith, and now I'm doing me. It's not about pride anymore. I can be real with myself. This is my second chance. If it weren't for VOA, I'd probably be back in prison because of a violation. I could be sleeping on the streets. I thank God for you guys that I don't have to do that. Today, my son's a conductor for Amtrak. My daughter's a postal carrier for the U.S. Mail, and I'm a VOA guy. Thank you.